What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Vikings Now by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Patrick Siepman. Coming up on today's show, a Vikings Cardinals trade is really starting to gain steam as we are only 3 weeks away from the NFL draft. So today's show is all about the Vikings and the Cardinals potentially making a blockbuster deal for Minnesota to go trade up and get their guy. But let's kick it to NFL Rooms, a big-time Twitter account right now. And this isn't like an actual source, but they have been getting reports that the Arizona Cardinals are open to listen to trades for the 4th overall pick in the 2024 NFL Draft. We've also heard many NFL insiders say that the Vikings and Cardinals have already started conversations about a potential trade. And then we also got a report from Kuiper a couple weeks ago that says that he said after the Texans trade that the Vikings may have already a deal done with Arizona. But I do want to kick it to Daniel Jeremiah here, who is just overall talking about the Cardinals trading down with the Minnesota Vikings, because in his last mock draft, he actually did have the Vikings trading up to the 4th pick and landing J.J. McCarthy. But he says the Cardinals make the last of their 3 first-round picks and get the best interior pass rusher in the draft class. So in this scenario, they wrap up round 1 with arguably the best outside and inside pass rusher available and a receiver who offers as much upside as any other pass catcher in the draft. Talking about the Cardinals' 2 picks that they would make if they do accept this trade with the Minnesota Vikings. So he was talking about the Cardinals potentially trading back and landing an edge and a star receiver at 11 and 23. And this was the trade that he actually suggested. It was the Vikings landing the 4th overall pick and then also an additional 6th-rounder, pick 186. And then also the Cardinals would obviously be getting pick 11 and pick 23. And we have seen it. Multiple mock drafts have had the Minnesota Vikings taking J.J. McCarthy. If we look at the big kind of 4 mock drafts that have came out over the past week, all 4 of them had the Minnesota Vikings landing the Michigan quarterback. Obviously, in Daniel Jeremiah's that we just talked about, he had the Vikes selecting J.J. PFF, the Vikes also selecting J.J., and then the 33rd team with Rick Spielman also had the Minnesota Vikings selecting J.J. McCarthy, as well as Mel Kiper, who actually had the Vikings taking McCarthy at the 11th pick. But before we dive into more around the Cardinals and Vikings trade, because there's even more steam around it, and I want to get you guys all the updates possible. We're actually in a sub-battle with our Falcons Today channel. They actually declared this war on us Vikings fans after they did sign Kirk Cousins. So, guys, I know we have about a 3,000 sub lead right now. I want to get that up to 10,000. So if you guys haven't already, hit that subscribe button. You guys want to get every update around the Vikings possibly trading up in the NFL draft. I'm going to be your go-to guy. Any report we get, no matter the time or day, I will have a video for you guys ASAP. We're making videos in the bathroom during free agency, so it really shows that, no matter what's going on, I will be making a video for you guys. But let's dive into my take here. So I think all signs are starting to point to the Vikings trading up to the 4th or 5th pick in the NFL draft. We've heard that kind of buzz and that long shot rumor that they could be trading up, to pick number 2 or pick number 3 to get Drake Maye, because obviously we know the Vikings brass really does love the North Carolina quarterback. But even more juice coming in from Daniel Jeremiah, just him talking about the Vikings trading up. He says, now the fun really begins. After the recent trade with the Texans, it seems like the Vikings are situated to aggressively move up to draft Kirk Cousins' replacement. The Cardinals trade down by passing a chance to pick the first receiver off the board, but they addressed that later on in the first round as he talked about the Cardinals selecting receiver at 23. But I do think the Vikings have 2 options here. I think they either have the all-in choice where they send 3+ first-round picks, 11, 23, and next year's first, and honestly probably even more draft capital, maybe an extra 3rd or 4th rounder, and they could go get Drake Maye or Jaden Daniels if they really love him, but I haven't really heard much reports around Jaden Daniels. Or you could kind of take the conservative route here. You're still giving up 2 first-round picks. You're getting even no other future draft capital, and you would still have the 2 fourths, 2 fifths in this year's draft. Then you would get J.J. McCarthy. And overall, I am fine with either of those options. I've said it. If the Vikings walk out of this year's draft class with either McCarthy or Drake Maye, I am fine with either of those options, because I really do believe the best quarterback in this year's class will be Caleb Williams, and then the second best will be whoever the hell the Minnesota Vikings draft, because of just the overall kind of support they would give that young quarterback. We showed the quote around Colin Cowherd. He kind of seconded my thoughts on that when he was evaluating draft quarterbacks, and I do believe it. If J.J. McCarthy, even though he may not have the ultimate upside as a guy like Drake Maye, I really do believe he would thrive in Minnesota. But I do want to get to something from Alec Lewis, who covers the Minnesota Vikings as he is kind of hinting that Minnesota could be desperate in trading up in this year's draft, and maybe other NFL GMs are starting to catch on. But somebody asked Alec Lewis about how badly do the Vikings want to do something substantial, like trading up to the top 5, and his response was pretty damn badly. And this is what he had to say on the Vikings' latest draft rumors. He says, from the time Kirk Cousins departed and moved to Atlanta, it seemed pretty obvious that option 1A at this point for them was to get their guy. And he also carried on to say, it is hard to identify which guy it is specifically, but I would be very surprised if Kwesi Adofo-Mensah, a GM who derives from Wall Street, is not going to do everything he can to trade up to the optimal spot where he feels like he can find a guy and head coach Kevin O'Connell's guy. And listen, every other NFL GM knows what Minnesota wants to do. It's just going to see what pick and what franchise drafting in the top 5 agrees to a trade. Like I said, the Vikings can go the Godfather offer route and trade a haul for Drake Maye, giving up multiple first-round picks and multiple future maybe thirds and fourths to go get their guy in the North Carolina quarterback. But also, they could take the route of taking J.J. McCarthy. But either way, every NFL front office knows the Vikings want to trade up in this year's draft class. And I even know it. Everybody knows it. You guys watching this video, you guys know it. Everybody around the league knows the latest buzz around Minnesota, but I still think they will be able to get it done. But if you guys, or I want to get you guys involved on today's video, how are you guys feeling about GM Kwesi Adofo-Mensah? Do you trust him to make the right decision, whether it's trading up to 5, trading up to 2 or 3? Do you have some trust in the Vikings GM? Give me a Y for yes or give me an N for no down in the comment section. Coming up next, just around the corner, what is Justin Jefferson? Yeah, we haven't talked about the best wide receiver in the NFL here in a little bit. So what is he thinking about all the latest trade rumors around this football team? We'll get to that in a second, but I do want to tell you guys about the sweet deal we have going on with these Aaron Jones jerseys. And if you guys check the chatsports.com/Vikings jersey, you guys can get your Aaron Jones jersey today. I think he's going to have a big-time year for Minnesota, and I bet you that'll be a big-time jersey at U.S. Bank Stadium. You're going to see a bunch of Vikings fans wearing this. So if you guys want to join in on the fun, get your Aaron Jones jersey today. Make sure you have the chatsports.com/Vikings jersey. Put that link for you guys in the comments and description of today's show. Now let's talk about it. Will a trade up keep Jefferson happy? Because we heard this report about a couple months ago that Justin Jefferson will not be signing an extension with Minnesota unless he for sure knows the plan at quarterback. So if the Vikings trade up in this year's draft class, would that keep Jefferson happy enough to sign that extension? Let's kick it to Alec Lewis, who covers the Minnesota Vikings for The Athletic. He wrote up this article around number 18. He says, Justin's a guy who wants a lot of money, but he also wants to be in a situation where he can win football games year after year. He wants to be a Hall of Famer. He wants to wear a gold jacket. He wants to be relevant, and winning provides those opportunities. And to win, you need a quarterback. And my take with this, after the Vikings finally trade up in this year's draft, and maybe this doesn't happen until after draft night, but all the attention from Vikings brass and Vikings front office needs to shift to signing Justin Jefferson to an extension where they lock him up long term. Not just 4, not just 5, but I'm talking a 6-year, $180 million deal fully guaranteed. That would be my contract to Jettas, and you may be saying that's a lot of guaranteed money for a receiver, but with the NFL cap just continuously rising year after year, we're going to look at that deal in 3 years. We're like, Jefferson's only making $30 million. That's a deal I would offer to him, but Alec Lewis had more to say around Justin Jefferson. He was asked, how important this would be, for the Vikings to extend Jefferson, just establish trust within the organization and the fans. He said, no question, to establish and earn his trust, and then also for the GM and head coach entering their 3rd season to establish trust with ownership and the fan base. To me, there's pressure to make something happen here. And, I kind of hinted at this at the beginning of today's video. No matter if the Vikings do go Drake Maye or J.J. McCarthy, I think Jefferson's going to be happy because I think no matter who they draft, the Vikings will be successful. Colin Cowherd at the Vikings is the 10th best team heading into the NFL next season with Sam Darnold right now slated in as their starting quarterback. I just think it speaks to the overall talent on this roster, making big-time moves in free agency, getting more talent on the defensive side of the football, and also shoring up the offensive side of the ball with a guy like Aaron Jones. I mean, we've shown the support system countless times here on the channel, but I think it's my number one argument onto why a rookie quarterback will succeed here. It's because of Jefferson. It's because of Addison. It's because of the franchise tight end you have in T.J. Hockenson. And now hopefully you're able to have a consistent run game with Aaron Jones, because I've said I can chalk up the Vikings kind of running, or lack of a running game to more of, the running back position, because I felt like the offensive line has been solid. And then obviously the man all the way on the right side of your screen, Kevin O'Connell. He is the most important piece in the Vikings moving, forward here in the next kind of steps of their franchise. And, speaking about the franchise, I think Justin Jefferson is the face of the franchise. Normally it's the quarterback. Normally it's Mahomes, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow. Like, those guys are typically faces of an organization. But I think in Minnesota it's different. You have the best non-quarterback in the NFL, in my opinion, in number 18. I think we are going to make it crystal clear here that Justin Jefferson is the face of the franchise, and he is the man moving forward. It's all about making him happy, and it's all about getting the most out of his game. How do you do that? You go draft a rookie quarterback, you keep bolstering up this offensive line, and you just continuously see Kevin O'Connell developing in his offense year after year after year, and that connection with Justin Jefferson is certainly growing. I'm excited to see what he's going to do next season, whether it's Sam Darnold, J.J. McCarthy, Drake Maye, Jaden Daniels. No matter who the quarterback is throwing to Jefferson, I think he's going to have a monster season. I mean, we remember 3 games into the year, he was on pace to almost hit 2,500 yards. He would have shattered every receiving record, this past season. Obviously, his hamstring restricted him to doing that. But I want to end today's show showing the best wide receiver in the National Football League some love, because, at the top of the screen, you see it right here. My boy is a dog. Show number 18 some love by typing his jersey number down in the comments section. I want to see over 1,000 18s down there showing Mr. Justin Jefferson your support. But if we get any more updates around the NFL draft, you guys know what I'm going to do. I'm going to make a video for you guys as soon as possible. So if you guys aren't already, hit that subscribe button. Lock us in. I'm telling you, we're going to get that notification any second now. Make sure you guys are subscribed and have that notification bell clicked right down there. Hit that sub button. See you guys next time. Let's go Vikings.